The sweet smell of vanilla mixed with something sharp and citrusy filled the hallway as Elle walked in. It wasn't her usual perfume, the one I'd given her for our anniversary. This scent was new, exotic, and clung to her like a second skin. The kitchen clock read 1:17 a.m. I had been awake for hours, the soft glow of the television barely keeping me company. Elle breezed past me, her cheeks flushed and her eyes sparkling. Her laughter was light, like champagne bubbles rising in a glass. "Oh, honey, it was such a blast," she exclaimed, heading straight for the bedroom without a glance in my direction. She didn't mention why she hadn't answered my text earlier in the evening. "The girls and I went to that new place downtown, the Velvet Room," she said as she disappeared into the bedroom. "You should see it. It's like stepping into another world." I stayed in the living room, watching her go. A knot tightened in my stomach. She called it girls' night out, but lately, those nights had become a weekly event. Each time, she came home looking more radiant and feeling more distant. I had tried to talk to her about it before. She would laugh it off, waving her hand dismissively. "Don't be silly, honey. You're just being paranoid," she'd say. I wasn't the jealous type. At least, I hadn't been before. But the signs were getting harder to ignore. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I hadn't planned for this, but tonight felt different. It had to be. The previous weekend, a nagging feeling had driven me to do something I never thought I'd do. I accessed her phone records. Each unfamiliar number felt like a blow, but one stood out, a name, Alex. This Alex received calls and texts from her almost daily. My chest tightened as I dug deeper. A reverse phone lookup led me to a social media profile. The man in the photo had dark hair and a confident, roguish smile. He worked as a bartender at the Velvet Room. My heart raced as I went to the office and retrieved an envelope I'd been hiding. Inside was a receipt from the Velvet Room, dated just an hour earlier. I'd spent a small fortune to get that receipt, but I knew it would be worth it. Clutching the paper, I walked into the bedroom. Elle was humming softly, pulling a nightgown over her head. The sharp, citrusy perfume filled the air again. She turned to me with a smile that used to melt my heart. "Now, it just twisted the knife. What's up, honey?" "You look like you've seen a ghost," I said, holding out the receipt. It was the one I had painstakingly waited for, the one that would finally reveal the truth. "Just a little something from your girls' night out," I added, my voice calm but cold. She took the receipt, her smile faltering as her eyes scanned the numbers. I watched the color drain from her face, her expression shifting to horror. The bill wasn't large, just $87, not enough to surprise most people. But the items listed told a story that turned her world upside down. Her voice wavered. What is this? This must be a mistake. Is it?" I asked, my tone sharp like broken glass. I pointed to the first line item, 2 Kettle One martinis. I continued, my voice steady as I read through the list. Another 4 Manhattans, 2 Old Fashions, 2 sidecars, and 2 French 75s. I didn't have to ask how one person could consume so many drinks. The truth was glaringly obvious. "You didn't have a girls' night out, did you, Elle?" The accusation hung in the air, heavy and unrelenting. She opened her mouth as if to respond, but then closed it again, her eyes darting around the room like a trapped animal. I can explain," she stammered, her voice trembling. I crossed my arms, unmoved. "I'm all ears." She floundered, grasping for an excuse. The words she managed to string together, about having fun, about never wanting to hurt me, rang hollow. Tears welled in her eyes, but they didn't soften my heart. "You're lying, Elle," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "You've been lying to me this whole time. The late nights, the new perfume, the endless girls' nights out. It was all a lie." Her lower lip trembled. "It wasn't like that. I just needed a little fun." "Fun?" I laughed bitterly, the sound harsh and jagged. "You call sneaking around with some bartender fun?" Tears streaked her makeup as she looked at me, her expression a mix of shame and desperation. She reached out to touch me, but I stepped back, disgusted. I pointed at the receipt, my hand shaking. This isn't girls' night out fun. This is cheating. You were with him, weren't you? Alex, from the bar. Her silence was louder than any confession. I exhaled a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. My voice was calm, eerily so, as I said the words that had been weighing on my chest. I'm done, Elle. I'm done with the lies, the deceit. I want you out. I want you gone. Her eyes widened. No, you don't mean that, she said, her voice rising in panic. She tried to grab my hand, but I pulled away as if her touch burned. I turned and walked to the office. The separation papers were already prepared. I had contacted a lawyer weeks ago. I grabbed them and returned to the bedroom, holding them out to her. These are for you, I said. They're all in order. Sign them. She stared at the papers as if they were poisonous. I don't understand. How could you do this? I'm done, Elle. You made your choices. I've made mine. Sign the papers, she pleaded, tears streaming down her face, promising that we could work things out, that she was sorry. Her words fell flat. I stood there, feeling no anger, no sadness, only indifference. Finally, she picked up the pen. Her hand shook as she signed. She tossed the pen onto the nightstand, glaring at me with a mix of shock and betrayal. She gathered her things in silence. I didn't touch her. I didn't speak. I simply turned and walked to the living room. Sitting on the sofa, I stared into nothingness. I heard her footsteps as she left, the door closing behind her, her car starting, and then fading into the distance. I closed my eyes. I felt nothing. Where my heart had once been, there was now only empty space. I had loved her with everything I had, but she had chosen to throw it all away. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt. Deep down, I had known for a long time that our marriage was crumbling, her lies eroding the trust we once had. I hadn't planned for things to end like this, but I had no regrets. I was free from her lies, her deceit, and the pain of holding on. And in that freedom, I found peace.